What's good? You are listening to Daniel and Gian talk shit. I am Gian.
And I'm Daniel. Camera's over there today. I forgot I'm switched around. I looked in the wrong corner.
What a jerk.
Hey man, it's not my fault you made me sit over here so you can watch the basketball game.
So we are recording during Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Right now, the Warriors are currently up by 4 points.
They're going to win. It's
in the
sad.
second quarter. It's only sad because I'm a Warriors fan. If I wasn't a Warriors fan, Daniel wouldn't care at all.
I wouldn't care. Well, no, it's sad because I've been watching these games and they just can't compete. The Cavs just can't compete, I got to say.
They're keeping it close right now, man. So.
Right now. I had a tweet the other day saying, the first game, they competed for the first quarter. And then the second game, they competed to the half. So, like, maybe by game 4, they might be able to compete with one another for an entire game. So, what is it, third quarter right now, you said?
Yep.
Yeah, and they're competitive, right? So, if my theory's true, that means game 4, it might actually last to the end.
Well, I think the narrative is once the second half comes around, the Warriors just open the floodgates and then they pull away. I think every game's been pretty close at halftime for the most part.
Before halftime, yeah.
Once they get that's how the Warriors have been playing all season. They don't blow you out all 4 quarters. It's like,
well, I'm just saying though. It's just you would expect at the finals, it's LeBron's team, that after the half they would expect that because of what you just said. They've been doing it all year.
Right. Well,
all right, it's coming. Let's fucking batten down the hatches.
It's another indictment of the Eastern Conference. That's the one thing that people have been holding against LeBron is that it's been easy for him to get to the finals because the Eastern Conference just isn't as talented.
Who's the other competitor? OKC?
No, they're in the Western Conference.
They're in Western?
And they're without...
because they played the Warriors last year.
Without Durant, they're not as good anymore.
So who's in the East? That's good.
The Celtics were good this year, and then they got stomped by the Cavs. I mean, they won. They won one game, so they're the only team other than the Warriors to defeat the Cavs in the playoffs.
Sad. So Gion's going to be periodically not paying attention to what we're talking about.
You ever notice any time a basketball player gets called for a foul, they act like completely like, what?
I didn't do anything.
What are you talking about? Like they could have. Yeah, they could have clotheslined somebody.
You know what's also funny? When that player is a Warriors player, and you're also like, what the fuck? He didn't foul anybody, and then you watch the replay, and you're like, okay, well, but it's your own team, right?
I ride or die with my homies.
You'd be right there on the court, be like, that wasn't a foul. You're blind, ref. But using other words.
Like right now, they just called a bullshit offensive foul on Draymond.
Is what's his name doing good? Thompson? He was in the shitter.
He did a really good game too. He did a great game.
He was in the shitter the first game, and then, I did watch the second game. I don't know.
He just got teed up. What a jerk.
Who did?
Draymond Green. Who else? He's the only guy on the Warrior that gets.
He's the most like flamboyantly aggressive. Didn't he get a T already? Isn't that his second technical of the series? I feel like
as long as you don't get 2 in a game, you're fine.
Right.
And I think it's like 7. If you get 7 of them in a series, then you get suspended for a game.
1 game, or if you kick someone in the nuts. Didn't he do that? Isn't he the one who kicked LeBron? Or what was that?
No, he forearmed LeBron in the nuts when LeBron stepped over him. He accidentally kicked the guy from OKC.
In the nuts.
When he was shooting. Yeah.
Oh. So... But you probably still defended him. You probably were like, that wasn't a foul. I'm still defending him. That wasn't
Absolutely.
a foul. It was just rough play.
I think LeBron deserved to get fucking nut checked. Step over somebody.
Yeah, well, you know what? They won a championship that year.
That's disrespectful.
They won
and you know what? They probably won because of that technical foul. Had he not nut checked LeBron, he probably wouldn't have got suspended. Warriors would have won Game 5.
And now they have KD. So it's a full circle, right? Lost the championship. Now they're going to win another one.
It
or
is.
They're going to win.
It is.
Well, this would be another one, right?
Yeah,
he was on the original. Yeah,
it'd be 2 and 3.
Yeah. I don't know, man. But so
let's just cut the bullshit, okay? You watched Wonder Woman. I watched Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is currently the #1 film in the world. I don't know if box office wise, are they #1 for the year?
I'll look it up. I don't think so. I would highly doubt it.
I mean, it made
I don't think so.
Warner Brothers was expecting 60 million domestically.
It can't be the most in the year because fucking what's it called? Fast and the Furious came out. Or you mean opening weekend?
Opening weekend.
Oh, okay. Okay. See, I thought you were asking like gross of the whole year.
No, I'm
like,
talking
you can't beat Fast
biggest
and the Furious.
biggest open.
All right, let's see. Biggest opening for the 2000. I don't know if you can look at it. It might be. I think it might be.
It's up there. It's definitely up there. It's definitely top 5 opens. I can't think of what other movies opened. Like, I think the beginning of 2017 was kind of slow for features.
It made 223 million worldwide opening weekend.
And it made 100 something domestically.
Right, 100.5 according to Variety. I'm just looking at this article. It's not really saying anything.
Either way,
well, don't forget Batman vs Superman came out this year too.
Did it come out in 2017?
No, it didn't.
Wow. I don't even know. Did it?
I think it came out in February. No, that came out in
2016, man.
Oh, I'm all backwards.
Yeah, dude.
Logan came out.
Logan came out. I don't think Logan did as well because it's rated R.
I was like, some big comic movie came out this year. I'm like, Batman vs Superman. No, it was Logan. Yeah, okay, that makes way more sense. Now it doesn't pop up. It doesn't say anything. Any articles at least, but
yeah, Logan made 70 million opening weekend.
Beauty and the Beast is the highest grossing film this year, 1.2 billion, followed by Fate and the Furious, and then Guardians.
Well, for the open though?
No, I'm just saying.
Like overall.
Yeah, overall.
Okay. Well, it doesn't
Unfortunately, matter. Wikipedia does not hold that information.
Neither does Box Office Mojo.
Pathetic.
Anyways, it opened up. It was a huge open.
Yeah, that's the point. A lot of people saw it.
A lot of people saw it.
A lot of people liked it.
A lot of great reviews.
And you don't have one of them. You're not. You wouldn't. You would. You might be a rotten score if you were a.
No, my score would be fresh.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, what's rotten? A C+ is fresh.
Anything under, I think it's 60%. Like a D is rotten.
Okay.
It might even be a D. Might be fresh too. It might even be anything over 60%. I'm not sure.
Well, audience score is 92%, so that's all that matters. 75,000 ratings.
Of the audience score, though, what's the rating?
4.5 out of 5, and then the average rating
Rotten Tomatoes?
Audience. And then critics, it's 7.6 out of 10.
Well, let me tell you something. Let me just give you something in context here. My sister has seen this movie 3 times already. My sister's an uber feminist.
Yeah, so?
So, I don't know.
Are you saying that a lot of women saw it more than once and it inflated the box office numbers?
I would not be surprised.
Is that a problem?
Or a lot of women that would normally not go and see. It is and it isn't.
What's the difference between a woman going to see it 3 times and you going to watch Dark Knight 5 times?
Well, I didn't watch Dark Knight 5 times.
Well, whatever.
No, that's not the difference. That's not my point. My point is a lot of people that wouldn't have went to see this kind of film went out to see it because of the woman narrative behind it.
Is that a problem though?
It is and it isn't, man.
I went to watch it with my mom.
It's a
and she doesn't watch anything like that.
And she wanted to watch it, or you wanted to bring her to see it?
I asked her to go watch it, but that's not the point, though. She could have said no.
Okay.
Because there's been movies where I wanted to see, and I'm like, oh, you want to go watch it? I'm like, no.
Right.
I don't like aliens, or I don't like whatever.
I mean, we're not even getting into the movie yet, so we'll talk about that afterwards.
Sure. But you get to your point. You brought it up. You brought up the point of she went to go see it, and you think those numbers are inflated.
You asked me the question first, so it's not my point. You're the one that started the conversation, and I just told you we'll talk about it later.
All right. Well, then.
Fuckface.
I'm just saying.
Well, I started last time. You start this time. Give me a review.
I thought it was perfect for like the first 2/3, and then because it was so good for those first 2/3, I was able to like not be completely turned off by that last act of the movie.
Okay.
Like the last act of the movie, I don't care who you are, you have to be writing, Wonder Woman hard to not complain about that, because it really was not effective. It wasn't good. It was thrown in there. It was just, you could make an argument that like thematically it made sense, but even then it's kind of a stretch because it just wasn't. It just felt shoehorned.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, I rank this as like one of the best origin stories for like in terms of comic book movies for film. That was redundant, but I'm just saying like it's definitely Batman Begins level. And what's the other one? Iron Man. Like I equate them. Those two, Batman Begins and Iron Man, are both perfect. They didn't have third act problems.
Mm-hmm.
They were perfect through and through. But at least as of this moment, it's definitely DC's, the EU's their best movie by far. And then I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed it. It's just the third act really, it just did not work for me at all. And then the slow motion, it got old by the end. But also, that's just because the movie was so long.
Right.
And then I think there was an article I read saying that, or maybe I just read the headline, that they only cut one scene out of the movie, or they only reshot one scene, and there's going to be no deleted scenes because she was able to put everything she wanted in the movie.
That's how efficient she was.
Or they just liked it so much that they were like, fuck it.
Okay.
Let her do it. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot that works in this movie. A lot for me personally. Like, for a non-World War I movie, it probably has like one of the best World War I scenes ever. And the funny thing is, it's obviously it's Wonder Woman or whatever, but I feel like they paid attention to the whole world of the times during World War I, as opposed to like Captain America. They used World War II as a backdrop or whatever, but it kind of just, once you get over that, they didn't really utilize it again. I feel like this one, World War I, was a big reoccurring thing it kept because Wonder Woman, being a woman, you're able to throw her in situations and seeing how the world was at that time.
It was okay. So let me stop you right there. World War II theme wasn't that huge for Captain America because it wasn't based in reality. Whereas the Red Skull, it wasn't Hitler pulling the strings; it was the Red Skull.
Sure.
So that made that fantastical element with the cosmic cube that he had and everything, kind of made it like it made it not feel like a war movie.
I mean, one could argue that it's the same thing here, but you never saw the Puppet Master.
No, you didn't, but it was still.
I wish you would have, like, that's what's annoying. But anyway, go ahead. I'm not going to interrupt you.
I think this one was definitely because you saw, like, Captain America, he didn't fight anybody in World War II. Captain America was just they used him and as a person to rally the troops. He didn't really like go out and battle.
There's a little. I think there was a few montage scenes. But I understand what you're saying.
In this one, she's like, in
the trenches, literally
she's in the
with
trenches
them,
and she's fighting,
literally with them.
I don't like First Avenger. I definitely like this way more than First Avenger. I
agree with you, and I actually really liked Captain. Actually, this movie it makes me want to revisit Captain America, so I want to shit on it. I haven't seen it in a while, but like it kind of just put it down on the list a little bit because I like this one so much better.
Right.
Because the feels that I got from this movie in terms of the historical context is what I got on Captain America. Because I felt like, they used World War II. Like, it was cool. I like the backdrop and all this shit and the cars. And there's like the chase scene at the very beginning. There's like a chase scene that was like very Indiana Jones. Not Indiana. What's it called? It's Indiana Jones, the serialized like style of filmmaking, which is cool. I'm like, yeah, this works, awesome. But I saw this one and I'm like, that was like child's play. They did barely even scratch the surface. I'm not saying that this movie went super balls deep in it, but like it definitely utilized just the general context of everything.
Right.
And maybe I've just watched too much History Channel.
Could be.
I don't know. I don't know how it worked for other people.
Could be.
But that's just my. I don't know. I mean, I can keep going, but what did you like it?
I liked it. I had a good time watching it.
Where's your score? Are you a 7.6 or are you higher than that? Are you higher than average?
Oh, I'm lower than that. I'm like, depending on my mood, I'm a 6.5 to a 7.
Does this beat Marvel movies?
No.
None of them?
Whoa, yeah.
Besides Captain America.
It beats Age of Ultron, that dud.
Okay, so you wouldn't even, if you were to like schedule a screening of superhero movies, would you put this movie alongside Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
I'm not saying like greatness. I'm just saying like, would you program this movie in
I mean, if we're talking themes, it's the only one starring a female, so that I would have that because it's the only superhero
Yeah, but
movie.
screw that. Maybe let's just say you could pick 5 superhero movies, not Deadpool,
Wouldn't be one of those 5.
not Fox movies, but just between Disney, Marvel, and anything DC's done.
Wouldn't put it. It would not be in the 5.
What would your 5 movies be though?
I put Iron Man. I'd put Avengers. I'd put Guardians of the Galaxy.
1 and 2.
I'd put. No, I don't have to put 2. I put Winter Soldier, and I'd put 5th would either be Thor
or Thor
or
2.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange would totally be in my 5. I haven't seen Ant-Man though.
You know, Ant-Man might be 2. You didn't see Ant-Man? I thought you saw Ant-Man.
I still haven't seen Ant-Man.
Yeah, like all of those. You know,
I kind of refuse to see it now. Like at first, I didn't want to see it just because I didn't care because it was an Edgar Wright movie. But now I haven't. It's been so long I haven't seen it that I don't even give a. I just don't care.
okay.
It just honestly, I probably will like it because I liked Ant-Man and the second Avenger, not a second Avenger,
And Civil War.
And Civil War. But I mean, I liked that it was just a small little bit. I don't know if
Right.
I'd want to watch a whole movie about it. But
I
I don't know.
getcha.
Maybe I could be wrong. It could be great. I just.
I liked it a lot.
So you don't think this you wouldn't put this in your 5 then?
No.
That's interesting. Well, I don't
Let
know
me
if
tell
I
you
would-
why.
I
You
don't know
like the
if I
first.
would
You
either,
like the
but-
first 2/3 of the movie. I thought the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes was great. I loved the island.
Yeah,
I
it was-
loved the
yeah.
mascara. That was great. I loved the action sequences on the island when they were training and
Yep.
stuff. I thought that was great. And then when the action started going to the rest of the movie, I was like, oh,
Well, there really wasn't action for the rest of the movie.
there was fighting.
Save for a few scenes here and there.
Okay, I'm going to say something controversial right now. Patty Jenkins did not direct any of the action sequences.
Well, if you can prove it, go ahead and say it.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay, if you can prove it, go ahead and put it on there.
What are you talking about?
If you can prove that statement,
I want you to go back and watch every
if
other.
you can prove that statement,
Let me finish my fucking statement, fuckface.
I'm just saying.
Jesus Christ. I'm telling you why right now, and motherfuckers are interrupting me.
Go ahead.
Every single fucking action sequence when she's got to World War I, or for almost the entire movie, was fucking shot for shot every goddamn Zack Snyder movie I've fucking seen. Every single fucking one. From the use of the slow motion, from the fucking CGI effects, from the coloring. Everything was identical to Zack Snyder. So maybe she did direct them, but those sequences are the same exact action sequences I've seen in BVS, I've seen in Man of Steel, I saw in Suicide Squad, I saw in That's All This Come Out, right?
So Zack Snyder directed all the action scenes for every single one of
He
those
may
movies?
not have been there. He may not have been on set saying that shit, but there's a look.
So you're
and
I
she
know,
had
so
to
I'm-
adhere to it.
So Suicide Squad, slow motion. Anytime slow motion was used, Zack Snyder was on set.
You know
directing
exactly
it.
what I'm talking
No,
about.
I'm asking.
Don't play dumb.
I'm asking.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Zack Snyder was directing it
Absolutely.
every time.
Absolutely. Remember, okay, so last week we were talking about how she was given carte blanche to do whatever she wants. I don't believe that anymore because these action sequences looked exactly like every other fucking Warner Brothers movie in this DC extended universe. And it looked like all the action it's basically the action he invented in 300 and did again that we loved. And then he did it again in Watchmen that we liked. And then he did it again in, what was his next movie? Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Where it started losing its allure.
So I just can't see David Ayer saying, "Yeah, Zach, come on, direct the action scenes," and that's why I'm bringing it up because you didn't bring this up for David. You didn't say, "Hey, Zach was totally directing these."
Well, the difference is...
so now...
No. The difference is Suicide Squad was such a shit-ass movie that I didn't care. Suicide Squad was trash. It was complete trash. I didn't care.
So then I'm going to revise your statement and say that you're saying that every single action scene, you're not just accusing her. You're saying that she has now joined the party of everything's been directed.
That's what I said.
Well,
I mentioned
her,
Suicide Squad.
Well, I know, but you came off as like it was her specific.
Okay. All right,
because
now you're splitting hairs.
See,
in my statement I said I mentioned Suicide Squad.
Well,
Did
now,
I not?
Well, now I feel like one of these feminists defending her, like in these articles that we said we weren't going to talk about, because that's annoying to me. Because you're stripping away. Who fucking cares? Her name's on it. That's like saying, hold on, let me just finish. That's like saying that, I mean, she didn't edit the movie.
Okay.
So it was assembled. I mean, there was
notes. The reason why I'm even bringing it up is because it's an issue for me because it wasn't good.
I don't know, dude.
If it was good, I might not say anything, but it took me out of the movie because of how bad it was.
Then why did you like the first 20 minutes?
Because it wasn't as heavy, because the color was different. First of all, there was light and there was color when they were on the island, and then it got dark and it turned into Zack Snyder's DC extended universe. Once they got to the real world, once they got to mankind, the colors went, and I'm sure that's the theme.
That's exactly why they did it.
Yeah, that's exactly why they did it. But that.
Especially and then
that made those action sequences really pop out. And remember, when they're on the island, they're not doing crazy ass shit.
I mean, they kind of are.
They kind of are, but they're not.
They're doing fucking backflips.
She's not running with a shield towards fucking machine guns, and she's not jumping in the air and flying fucking 150 feet to take out.
She didn't know her potential yet.
All I'm saying is these sequences, the CGI, and this is not on her at all. The CGI in this movie was god awful.
Sure, that's not her fault.
Terrible.
Like you said, that's not her fault.
No, but the action sequences were definitely
the CG was terrible, and all these movies are terrible.
Yeah.
The only company that does CG, I'm not the only company, but the only Marvel in terms of like Disney Marvel are the only CGs that look good, because they spend so much goddamn time, because they have a cycle now where they know, okay, we need to shoot 3 months, we're going to be editing for 3 months, we're going to be doing special effects for the whole time we're going to be doing special effects, and they have it so cookie cutter.
Is this an excuse?
No. I'm just saying, DC hasn't gotten to that point yet, and they do look crappy. 100%. Anytime like where someone flew or something, as cool as it would have been if it were live, if they would have just, pulled someone off, like that would have been awesome. And it did take me out. I'm not saying that. But what I'm defending is, I mean, we all know, because let's be realistic. Most major films have a B unit, okay? We and you both know that stunt coordinator was on set, choreographing the fights, all right? She didn't write the movie. Okay, so that's one thing. So you can't like blame her if the fucking script said that she was gonna knock some dude, jump into a bell tower.
That's where you're getting me completely wrong and taking me out of context. I'm not blaming her.
But
I'm saying that we have this idea that she had carte blanche with the script, and now that I see the finished product, I don't believe that to be true.
All I'm saying is, I'm not saying you're blaming her for shitty action scenes or whatever.
You're getting defensive as if I'm talking about your girlfriend.
What you're doing is stripping. You're like stripping her merits away. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, maybe she didn't make the direction, but she still assembled a great movie.
What I'm saying is, it's not a great movie. I gave it a 6.5 out of 7.
For me, it was great.
It wasn't great. And you just said that you wouldn't put it in your top 5 of comic book movies.
Well, because there's more than 5 good comic book movies. I wouldn't even. Let's see. My top 5. I think I'd have Iron Man.
We weren't including the Dark Knight trilogy in this. We were talking DCU and Marvel MCU.
Only if I had to choose. If I had to choose.
You said no Fox movies too.
Iron Man. Captain America 1. Actually, it'd probably just be like the first wave, and then Guardians 2. I don't know if there's enough movies there, but like, I don't fucking care for anything after the first Avengers. The first Avengers. I just don't. Doctor Strange, though. No. Take that back. Okay. Doctor Strange, I'd put that in there.
Well, we need to bring this back, because you got me like riled up, and I'm not trying to talk shit, because I like the movie. I enjoyed it. I had a good time watching it.
It feels like you're trying to strip her away.
You're okay.
You're doing the same thing in the articles that we were talking about.
Hold on. You don't know Patty Jenkins?
I don't.
You've seen one movie, because she's only made one fucking movie.
But
there's no need for you to defend her.
Okay, so you think that James Mangold, when he was directing Wolverine, he was responsible, or not Wolverine, but anything, Wolverine or Logan, was 100% James Gunn, 100% there. Those are my action scenes. Motherfucker, you can't even, there's all CG. You're going to say he did it all?
Okay, then
I'm asking you.
You are missing the point.
I am 100% missing the point.
The action sequences in those movies don't look exactly like the action sequences in every other fucking movie made out by that studio.
I definitely disagree with that, especially with the fucking Marvel movies. We definitely know the action scenes in Civil War are the same as the Avengers. They always have that heroic fuck. The music comes in. You got to do that spinning camera work shit. I hate it.
But that's a trope. That's a trope. That's a cliche that they've created.
What's the difference between that?
That's not. This
Explain
is
the
not.
difference.
Oh, this is a style.
Explain the difference.
The difference is that's not a style.
What is it then?
I just told you, it's a cliche that they've now used on. It's a trope that they've now used on that's connected to the universe. This is a style that is uniquely connected to Zack Snyder.
Okay, so all style.
Zack Snyder, every Zack Snyder movie looks exactly like this movie.
All you're saying is
let me ask you something. Who invented the slow motion 360? I mean, that you're gonna say the kung fu and the Matrix and shit, but the shots that you saw in 300 had a very unique look, and it's the reason why Zack Snyder even has a job nowadays. Now,
Sure, but I would.
look. I'm asking you right now. Tell me if that look is not different than every other DC.
I'm gonna disagree.
Universe
I'm gonna disagree with this use of slow motion, and I'm gonna like. I've avoided going into detail because I don't want to get too crit studies.
Okay,
but
so let's just fuck the whole slow motion at the beginning of Watchmen.
No. Listen to me. Hold on.
The entire montage at the beginning is in slow motion.
Listen to me. Listen.
I hate listening to you because you're fucking wrong.
Zack Snyder's use of slow motion is super slow motion. Okay? No. There's a difference. There's a difference. It's always to heighten very, 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 very small actions to make them appear bigger. You want to use Batman versus Superman. Okay? When he recreated the scene of Bruce watching his parents get killed. What do you see? You see the gun just super slow-mo in the Watchmen, the little button. Like, that's how he's using slow motion. Does he use slow motion in fighting? 100%. 100%. I'm not denying that.
So you're telling me the style of fighting that you saw in Wonder Woman didn't remind you of Zack Snyder at all?
Listen to me. Hold on. Let me finish.
No, answer my question.
Honestly, no. I'm gonna be 100% no. Like maybe that's why I'm so, because we're so like not on the same page on this.
Then I don't want to listen to you because you're full of shit.
I didn't remind because they're different uses of slow. When he
no. Now you're getting
Dawn of the Dead.
Now you're getting crit studies.
Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead.
Now you're
Dawn of the Dead.
This is called you're not. No.
Dawn of the Dead.
No, I'm not gonna let you finish.
Shotgun slow motion. What
I'm
was
not gonna
it?
let you, dude. You're splitting hairs now.
Was it the whole scene slow motion, or was it just to emphasize the fact that the blast of the shotgun? No. That's
you're splitting hairs
That's the style of Zack Snyder slow motion.
No, this was exact, dude.
I'm differentiated. There's two different. You can't say that all slow motion's the same.
No,
you can't.
I'm not saying all slow motion is the same. I'm saying the way that slow motion was used here was used almost exactly like Zack Snyder's. This is the way Zack Snyder uses it to go along with Zack Snyder's color scheme, which has been chosen for the entire fucking universe since he's the head of the fucking universe.
Sure, but that's not Patty Jenkins' fault. It's not.
I didn't say it was her fault.
I'm just saying,
not once have I said it was her fault. What I said is that she did not have as much control over shit as everyone tried to point it out.
Sure, maybe that's true.
And I'm saying that this movie is a fucking Zack Snyder fucking movie. His fucking name was the first one on the goddamn credits when it starts.
I don't know.
Story by Zack Snyder and somebody
So I
else.
think what's gonna have to happen is Patty Jenkins is obviously gonna is the new name in town now. Okay, I would see her not taking the sequel to Wonder Woman 2. To be quite honest with you, I'm just gonna be real. I can just see it because you start with Monster. And you don't make movies for however the fuck long, and then you have Wonder Woman. And now you're literally the most powerful woman in Hollywood, arguably, right now, in terms of negotiation power. She can do whatever she wants, okay? No, did she just win an Academy Award? No, I'm not saying any of that shit. But I'm just, you understand, you know what I'm saying? I think what would solve this debate is if she made another movie
that had nothing to do with Zack Snyder.
That had nothing to do with superheroes, comic books, whatever. Just a fucking straight up action movie. If she made like, I don't want to use this as an example, but what's Catherine Bigelow's? The one with fucking Keanu Reeves.
It's one of my favorite movies, man. Point Break.
Point Break. If she did Point Break, I'm not saying that movie, but like that style of, because that's an action movie, right? You wouldn't argue that that's not.
It's a 90s action film.
Okay, exactly. But if she did a movie like that, not related to comic books, and she did it well, you might not say that she's not a bad action director or whatever. You might not come at her and say, well, let me look at who produced the movie.
Did I say she's a bad action director this entire time?
You did not.
Okay.
But that's how I interpreted your statement because you're taking away. Hold on, that's what bothered me.
You're making an assumption
because you're saying that she didn't direct any of the action.
No, listen to the
words. You said that.
I did say that, and I'm going to say it again. And I'm telling you right now. As long as now that Zack Snyder's, I'm telling you now that Zack Snyder is dealing with his family issues,
right?
And Joss Whedon is in charge. The films are going to start taking a major different. The look is going to be a lot different.
Maybe. At least after what's already been shot. So you're talking about after Justice League, after Aquaman. Those movies aren't changing. So maybe Green Lantern will usher in a new
or Batgirl, whatever comes out first. Right. I don't even know what's going to come out. If things aren't sure, that's not in production already. Yeah. But there's a look and there's a feel.
And I definitely
and I think it's got Zack Snyder's fucking paws all over it.
I've never disagreed with that at all. But I feel like Wonder Woman is the least Zack Snyder like out of everything that's come out of the DC universe.
I think story wise, it had the best script.
it had calming moments, just moments where they could just fucking be characters.
Let me get back to it since you called me out. I like the island shit, and then once she gets to Europe, it gets okay, and it's all right.
It becomes cliche at that point,
and then it just starts the longer. It's a little too long, and then the ending. I'm 100% with you. The ending of the movie was fucking awful.
It was bad. And if the movie was not good before that, I would have dismissed this movie immediately.
And that is due to a lack of execution.
You blame her?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a script problem. For
me,
me,
not a script problem. It was not set up properly. I don't know if it happened with the editing, like things that got cut. Well, you said nothing got cut out, but there's a thing. Let's just okay. I'm gonna go through. I don't know if you wrote down your pros and cons. I'm gonna go through the things that I liked. I like Chris Pine.
Great.
I thought he was great. He did
and
a great performance.
Arguably, at times, I felt like this was more Chris Pine's movie than her movie.
Right.
And I didn't want to. I feel like that's controversial to say because Wonder Woman's top billing or whatever. But there was times
he's
where
the one that sacrificed himself at the end.
There
of the
were
movie
times where
he
saved everything.
Yeah.
He saved all the lives because Wonder Woman was too occupied with killing Ares. But there was certain. I think it was in the bar scene or something happened, and I'm like, this is his movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the white male, he's leading because I thought if Chris Pine were not in this movie, I don't know if I would have liked it as much. Their chemistry was great.
I think
Chris Pine was great.
And this is I love Gal's look. I think she did a good job for what she is as an actress.
I think she's shown us what she can do though in terms of acting ability.
She's definitely she's got a ways to go. I don't know if she's going to get any better. And I think
hopefully she does.
That's why but I think
she's not Margot Robbie.
I think that's why Chris Pine was there in the first place because he needed to carry some of the weight. Acting
and he carried a lot of it.
He did. He was an excellent job.
100%.
He's not going to get nominated or win any fucking awards because it's a superhero movie, but it's something that I feel like it's something that
you take him out of the movie. I wouldn't have. Yeah. I don't know if I would have liked it because he brought the laughs. He brought the charm. Like he wasn't a douche. Like I hated the fact that they had sex.
No, he grounded the film.
I hated that.
That's another issue I had.
I hated for such a pro women movie. She just gives right in. Well, for being so smart and being well versed and understanding everything.
And the problem with that was
we're being really critical.
No, the problem was an issue I had with the movie. The romance was never built up.
That's why, and it's just this. We knew they should be kissing right now,
right.
And it would have been a moment where she could have just said goodnight and kissed him on the head and walked away.
Or it could have been a sexual thing out of curiosity. Because that's what I like the most. When she first gets to Europe, she's just
she doesn't know anything.
She's looking around. She's
amazed. Never had dick in her life.
She's just, but everything was opening her eyes. This is the most powerful woman on earth. And she's she sees a baby. And I mean, that was kind of sexist in itself. I thought a little bit, oh my God, a baby.
But at the same time, I don't know. Weren't all those people the Amazonians created?
Yeah, she'd never seen a baby before.
So that's not...
It's not that she got excited about seeing a baby. It was the way that she...
The maternal instincts coming out?
Oh my God, a baby.
Is that sexist that I just said that? Her maternal instincts?
I mean, I don't know if it was a maternal... I mean, that's just... It was a stereotypical thing for a woman to do. They see a baby, they get all mushy.
What about the fact that she likes ice cream? Is that bad too?
No, she never had ice cream before. That's fine. That was cute. Little things like that, I really liked. I liked how excited she was.
I was disappointed she didn't drink that beer though. To be honest with you,
she did.
When the fucking dude offered the beer,
she grabbed it and
I'm like, "Ooh, we're about to have an ET scene." I got excited because she's never had beer before.
Right.
She's about to get trashed.
Well, she's a god. So.
Imagine if she got didn't Thor get drunk in the first Thor?
Not the same kind of god. Those Norse gods in the Marvel universe, they're not.
Regardless, that's the one. You get what I'm saying.
That's the argument that people have between the Marvel and DC.
No, DC's
DC
real gods.
Are gods.
Real, I understand that. But isn't Odin a god though?
He is a god, but we didn't see him get drunk.
I guess that's true. Well, then Thor's a demigod then.
Yeah, no,
so it's the same
Thor's
thing.
Definitely more of a demigod.
So you don't think Diana will get drunk?
She might not. I mean, I'm going by the TV series, but Flash can't get drunk.
Really?
He can't get drunk because
is Flash a demigod?
No, but his metabolism is so high that the alcohol goes right through him.
I feel like that's a different.
But she heals. The only time we saw
her,
her,
she's bulletproof.
Yeah.
That's kind of annoying. She was just she just blocked all the bullets like this.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. That's kind of
with no for being.
Let's go back to the positive stuff because we can pick it apart.
I love the movie.
I liked Etta Candy. I thought she was funny.
Who's that?
The little chubby assistant.
Oh yeah.
I feel like she could have been more screen time for her.
Okay, you know what? Hold on. Let me stop for 1 second. I want to talk about that for a second. Agree with you. Love her, 100%. But you make another movie directed by a dude, not with Wonder Woman.
She wouldn't be in there.
You put a fucking no. Hold on. You put a fat white lady in there. SJWs. Oh, what? Only fat white women can be like only fat women. Like the fat girl has to be the comic relief. No, notice how no one says that, but that's a common thing that people say.
Right.
Like, what's her name? Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously she herself is trying to get those comical roles for money and stuff like that. But like, I know I've heard it before because it's since Shakespeare. You always have the fat like comic relief because it's just like fat people have always been funny, I guess.
Right.
I don't know. I liked her, but I just feel like it's weird how like it was so good, but then there's still fucking common cliches that people complain about, but they're completely overlooked.
I'm also not sure you needed her either. If you eliminated her from the movie, it wouldn't have affected the movie.
All right, I can see that.
She wasn't in the movie enough.
She wasn't initially like to have some like jokes in there, like oh that's slavery, like 'cause I'm the assistant or whatever, like little jabs. But overall, I would definitely agree. But I mean, the movie had a lot of characters anyway. I don't know. Like the movie could have been a disaster. Like, that's I think that's the biggest takeaway is that yes, the DC universe is capable of making something that's not Zack Snyder's shit show.
Right.
Which has been that way since he fucking started with Man of Steel. And I've said that since day one. And I know there's people out there who disagree because they liked Man of Steel. But I like my movies to not have action for the last... On that token, though, because I was going to say... I'll finish my sentence. I don't like action movies, or I don't like films that end on an action scene because it needs to be an action scene. Guardians. I feel like that last action scene was completely earned, motivated. Guardians 2, I mean. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, you gotta kill your dad. Like, that's the movie's been leading up to that point. In Wonder Woman, Ares comes out of nowhere. Literally comes out of nowhere. And we're just supposed to accept it. And there has been no buildup because the whole buildup was to kill this German guy, whatever his name is, and his like fucking the chemist, you know, the ugly faced chick. Like those are the antagonists of the movie.
And
she kills those people basically.
I like the idea of that
100%.
That they were
you could have done it more. You could have,
but it wasn't executed properly.
What in my opinion, what should have happened?
We didn't see the big nosed Ares guy enough. He didn't do enough for us to be suspicious of him. My
thing is he should have took different forms. They could have implanted this guy throughout the story, where like you see like some characters say something.
Well, they do, but they do it at the very end when they show us that he's whispering. But
that's a cop out.
Yeah, absolutely.
That could have been the one reshoot that they did because they're like, "Fuck, we didn't explain this. It kind of just came out of nowhere because it was just out of nowhere."
Right.
And so that's what they could have easily set this up where it was like they're at the bar. And well, I guess he was at the bar because that's how he helped him. Or whatever,
I mean, let's be honest. Like, I knew the German guy wasn't the bad guy from jump.
Well, we both know that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, wouldn't it be cool if he was, though? Would it have been better if it was?
I was half hoping that when he got stabbed and died,
he fucking blew up and turned into Ares.
Exactly.
And like they started fighting.
Like that was his avatar. That was his human form. And she brought the sword. Brought it out of him, you know. Even though the sword was like, I knew also.
The sword wasn't anything.
I also knew that she was the weapon as well.
I didn't.
You didn't know that? I knew that right when they said at the beginning, like that she's the weapon. That's why they're protecting her so much because they don't want her to know what her purpose is.
I just figured like they didn't want her to know, so she didn't go out to try to like find Ares.
That's another problem I had actually. There was no trying to stop her from leaving the island. That
they encouraged it. They were like, "Go ahead, go."
But you can't come back.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was anticlimactic for me. Like there was no like.
So now that he's dead, does that mean like all those women they get to go around fuck now? They just get dick?
I'm sure they will be used in the future. You know.
Oh, okay. I guess my computer just restarted. But I'm just saying though, because like, isn't that the whole purpose? Now that they're gone, or Ares is gone.
What do you mean now they're free?
Right.
To not be warrior princesses.
Right. But my thing is though. That I was thinking about this. I kind of wished, and this would never have happened, but if it were an independent film, it would have happened. maybe, where she kills this guy, right? And then, just like in the movie, how it takes, like, I enjoyed how she killed him and nothing changed. And she kind of had that moment, right? And like, I was with the movie. That's not where the movie went bad for me.
And I wanted them to keep. I wanted to keep
that up,
with that, and then have her realize that she still had a job to do.
Yeah, and she needed to go. She needs to get these bombs. Fuck it.
Yeah,
I need to stop.
And she needed to be the hero, and she didn't.
That's why, and that's what I was gonna say. I wish it would have just stayed that way and left it open ended, because you know what? We're in a universe where fucking Ares could exist.
And then right there, the romance would have paid off for me a little more, because something
they could have helped together.
And something happening to Steve is what she pulled her out of her fog of like, I've been living a lie.
He could have died then. It could have just. My point. Like, my point is, though,
there's a lot of ways they could have went with it.
They built
didn't.
up to that point where it was like, you're in the real world now. You've been sheltered and stuff.
And then they went a cheesy way,
and they just confirmed her reality, which is not, because it could have been confirmed later. Is what I'm saying.
Now let's go to Gian's superficial moment of the movie. I hated that this ugly, big-nosed English guy was Ares.
Well, he was the least obvious.
Yeah, but I was hoping when he transformed into Ares, he wouldn't be the big, ugly English guy anymore. He'd be a god.
Oh yeah, no, he just put armor on him.
Yeah, that I was like, come on, dude.
Oh, you mean when they flash back to him and he was like younger?
Yeah,
and like ripped, but like had the same.
Exactly. Like, I was expecting the God of War to be. I mean, because all the gods are supposed to be beautiful, and he wasn't.
And white.
Yeah.
Long blonde hair.
Yeah. Even though she's obviously Mediterranean, she's got olive skin, and he didn't. That was like, and I was like, that's my superficial moment, because I'm like, all right, this guy, that kind of, I didn't like that at all.
Maybe
they could have got a better actor for that. That's just the guy, because he was barely in the movie as.
Well, I was gonna say maybe that was a Patty Jenkins choice, where Zack Snyder probably would have just fucking turned him into some super beast, right? I mean, think about what's his name, the dude they fight in Batman vs Superman, the Abomination. Is it Abomination?
No, it's Doomsday.
Doomsday. There's no actor. You don't see any face on that. It's just created. I feel like Patty Jenkins respects actors just based on her independent film background. That she was just like, yeah, you can just, we'll just.
The guy wasn't on screen long enough. He did nothing to wow me with his performance. So it's,
I mean, he fit the role fine.
They needed an English guy.
They didn't need to elevate the role that high.
Yeah.
Where it was like, okay. I mean, I don't know. And then it was just 2 hours.
I mean, it just wasn't set up properly. It wasn't executed.
And then I was disappointed
properly.
He died too. That Steve died after all that.
Yeah, that sucked.
After all this,
that kind of sucked. I was kind of hoping that he bailed from the plane somehow or something.
Busted a Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah. But then
survived a nuclear bomb.
But then at the end, the picture, like, thank you for bringing him back to me. That was like, it was kind of an eye roll.
Or maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's Ares.
Oh, now he's the real Ares?
Yeah. I just feel like it was a waste of a character, though.
You're the real MVP. It was. I'm Prodigy, you're going to comment on this. I'm wondering how you feel, since you're all about the big baddies in movies, and how does he measure up to the other big baddies? And
this was weak.
I mean, you can make the argument that this is also an issue with Marvel movies. They don't have consistent bad guys.
Nope. But see, arguably, I'd make that their antagonist
are the situations.
The fake antagonists of the whole movie, like all the opposition, like that was strong enough. But the Ares, like being, the main bad guy, the main boss, no, definitely weak. Because it just wasn't effective. It wasn't set up, wasn't built up. It was set up. It laid the foundation of a potential, but it was just, what would have been interesting? Did you see that movie that also had a lot of slow motion in it? And it was like I forgot what it was called, but the trailer had they'd fight. It looked like a painting. It was like Greek gods fighting each other, but it looked like a painting.
That was the worst movie ever.
You know what I'm talking about? And they're fighting in a room. I forgot what it's called.
It had Hercules in it.
Was it that? It would have been interesting to see more of that style towards the end. Like if Ares came out and he somehow championed demons or something.
I'm trying to think. There's all these movies that came out that they were all set in that same era.
I forgot what it was called.
It wasn't Clash of the Titans.
It was
similar to Clash of the Titans.
Right.
So
I forget.
Because the guy it had Mickey Rourke in it. Mickey Rourke was the bad guy.
Oh, he was. I don't remember the name of the movie though. I just remember that trailer. That was really cool. It made me go watch the movie. But it would have been interesting to see just more,
I haven't seen Kellen Lutz again.
I don't know what that is.
Kellen Lutz he was in The Legend of Hercules, which is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
I've never seen that movie.
But he was also in this movie. He played Ares, actually, funny enough, in that movie you're talking about.
Irony. But anyway, let's see. What else? What did I not? No, I mean, that's kind of, to me, that's pretty much it. In terms of like what I didn't care for about it. That and the runtime. I felt like it could have been a little tighter.
Oh, he wasn't. I'm tripping.
And then it was kind of weird. The movie kind of skirted a weird line between.
No, it was Immortals.
Immortals. There we go. That's what it was. It skirted this weird line of being very mature, and then being a kids movie. Not a kids movie, but being more like a young adult. I don't know. Like that. The conversation about sex in the boat felt like, I feel like if I don't know, I brought my little cousin or something, and he's 8. I don't know if I'd be comfortable. Like, he's going to want to see Wonder Woman. But like, that's kind of a weird scene.
It was, I mean...
But I enjoyed it as an adult, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying, though?
And I feel like that was a poor setup for their sex scene later.
Sure. And then Chris Pine being naked, and they're like, oh, are you normal? And he's like, yeah. I mean, that's kind of like...
It was risque humor.
Which I'm not saying I hated it. I'm just saying it's kind of interesting when you're within the comic book realm and a Wonder Woman, where like you're going to take a little girl to see it,
I think those are like
parent jokes. I know they're like the Pixar jokes,
they're
but
Looney Tunes jokes.
But they used the word sex.
Right.
That's where it kind of gets not that it bothers me, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's little things like that. You know what really bothered me? It's just going to be like me being petty as fuck.
Oh, I do have another complaint though.
Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. This is my another complaint. We spent a lot of time in Germany, and there wasn't one German word spoken. I hated that the whole German army was speaking English the entire time. Like, I feel like we're so used to subtitles nowadays that you can get away with subtitles, and I just hate it. I don't know. It just bothered me the whole time.
Who would speak German if you were the main bad guys?
The fucking German army, when they're together, should have been speaking German to each other.
I mean, but what, one scene?
There was multiple scenes with them.
Well, I mean, I'm
even
thinking
one scene, 3 scenes. Like, maybe they speak English when they're just talking to each other, him and Scarface. But when he's talking to the rest of his soldiers and stuff, he should have been talking in German. That's like I said, that's me being petty. That's
it depends on the movie for me. Like Valkyrie, the movie with Tom Cruise, that movie should have been in German. And that movie takes place in Germany. You're dealing with everyone's German. There's no like Wonder Woman parts where it's just like, oh, America. It's on Inglourious Basterds, but Inglourious Basterds is an example of that. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
a lot of
that's
German.
what I'm saying. I feel like honestly, that's just studio. No one. Oh, people are just too stupid to read.
No, it's definitely studio.
I agree with you though. I feel like it would enhance the reality. Would it necessarily like make the movie better? Yes, but will it like overall, you know what I mean? Was it a deal breaker?
I mean, like
no.
I said, there's other people that it probably didn't bother them at all, but it bothered me.
What bothered me about the movie, though, and no one has mentioned this at all, the Amazonians, right? Like, there's 2 black people, and then one of them is a mammy.
And then the other one's like a beast.
Yeah, and then there's no other colored folk. They're all white. They're all white. All of them. They're all white. And then in the rest of the movie, you periodically see like, oh, here's one black soldier, whatever. But I just feel like...
Well, I've heard people talk about the tokenism.
The main band of brothers, like the main ragtag
the Middle
people,
Eastern guy.
I thought that was fine. Because at least they used... Like the Native American, I thought it was just like, he's a real Native American, which is probably why he was so like pale and like, not pale, but like flat in his acting. Because maybe he's not an actor. I don't know. But they didn't get a Mexican is my point. Like they didn't just dress someone up. But
and they explained why he was there.
Yeah. No, I was justified. And you didn't doubt it. You didn't doubt any of these characters.
And they tried to use it as a way for her to doubt mankind as well.
Right, because his people.
Yeah.
His people did this.
Notice I said tried.
Which is, well, I mean, I feel like it worked.
Kinda.
I don't know. I gotta give credit where credit's due. Is this an Oscar-winning movie? No, but it did work on that level. I feel like they at least covered their bases in a way where you weren't like, when you said that, did you go?
I did.
Okay, well, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, that was a little obvious because he was like his people, and then they looked at him.
It was on the nose.
Yeah, but I mean, I did like the little touches he had. Like, I like the fact that dude he used a Winchester rifle. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe that's racist.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, he was everyone else was using like the German, like, or whatever weapons was used during the World War I, and he was using a Winchester, which is ironic because that's what killed all of his people.
See,
But I can guarantee you that was why it was in there.
You think that was in there on purpose?
Guarantee you.
Huh?
Well, I mean, he's a Native American.
I mean, I didn't even notice, so it's just...
That's what he was using, though. The old school Winchesters where you had to, like, you had to do that loading shit. But he had one. But yeah, the Amazonian women, there was no like, come on, bro. You have a clean slate. You can make them whatever race you want. You can make them a rainbow, but you made them all white. And then the two colored folk, one of them is a mammy.
That's your SJW comment of the podcast, for sure.
What do you mean?
That's a bit on the... I completely see what you're saying. I didn't even notice. I didn't care enough.
I did. They were all blonde, too. Not just white, but they were like...
all blonde. I mean, the
Robin,
two main ones were.
Yeah, well...
And I thought she was great.
I'm not complaining.
I am in awe. That woman is 50 years old, and she is ripped. Like, I think she looked more physically imposing than Gal Gadot did.
100%.
You know.
That's the point. She's supposed to be.
Well, no, dude. That's what, I mean, I'm being nitpicky now. She's skinny as fuck, Gal Gadot. She is skinny as fuck. And they could do next time, they need to kind of like shy away from her legs because they're just too skinny for Wonder Woman, man. For my Wonder Woman, anyways. I need some thick legs on my Wonder Woman. And some donk. You know what I mean? She needs to play softball. She needs to be like a soccer player / softball player, and then she became Wonder Woman later.
I'm going to Google thick Wonder Woman, see what pops up.
Oh no! See, it depends on whose definition of thick. It's gonna.
That's why I'm curious. Yeah. Thick. Let's see what pops up. But I don't know. I just feel like though it's just I feel like one of those roles.
No, was
written for Charlize Theron and she wasn't available.
Right.
That's how white these people were to me. Especially when you look at Patty Jenkins' monster film.
Yeah.
All white people.
Right.
So to me, that's where I feel like her as a director comes out. Like that's why I'll criticize her specifically.
There's no gay people in this movie either.
I mean, I don't know.
No,
I didn't.
I'm glad. I would have been pissed off if there had been a.
I wish
you could put that on the podcast.
Well, I wish I could we had a screen.
Just send it to me on Facebook.
Oh, that's true. I'll do that. But anyway, keep going. It's pretty funny.
If they'd have shoehorned in like a gay person or like an ambiguous,
it would have been too much.
Yeah, it would have been like, okay, now you're
the woman card was already too much for people to handle.
And I had no problem with the woman card.
No, I didn't. Me either. Obviously, we watched this movie. If we had a problem with it, we wouldn't have watched it.
Well, we still would have watched it just to talk shit.
True. Well, not necessarily. I've never seen Elektra. I've never seen Catwoman. I will never see those movies.
You didn't want to watch them because they're females?
Well, they didn't look good.
Okay, it has nothing to do with them being female.
They're female movies, though.
Yeah, but you didn't watch them because they look shitty.
Right.
That's different. That's a different reason.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't know if I watched a Wonder Woman trailer. Did we did a reaction on a Wonder Woman trailer? I don't think we did.
Yeah, we did. The very first one.
Oh, well then I've seen one. That's the only trailer I've seen of Wonder Woman then. Because I didn't watch anything and I didn't pay attention to anything like that. In terms of, publicity or whatever, read articles about it. I don't know. But have you seen those movies?
Didn't see Catwoman, definitely saw Elektra.
Ooh, the Cavs are winning. I didn't know that. What quarter is it? It's the fourth quarter?
It's the third quarter.
Well, see, the only reason why I'd watch Elektra is because isn't it connected to Daredevil?
Yeah, but if you watch the Daredevil movie, yeah. Oh boy, that's
Is that that's thick, THICC.
Yeah, that's not what I was thinking. Not what I had in mind.
That's a good one, though. I mean, it is. I mean, like you said, to each is their own, right? Like, just to someone in the world, that's their thick Wonder Woman.
That's their definition. They're disappointed when they went home because they didn't see that on the screen.
Now, question that's not ever going. It's not relevant. It's completely hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
If you were making a Wonder Woman movie, okay, and you didn't have you know, DC or whoever, Warner Brothers, is going to be on your ass about whatever. Yeah. But they said you can be in charge of casting. You can cast whatever woman you want, whatever. And I'm not talking about like sexually attractive. My question is to race. Would you keep Wonder Woman in line with the comic books, or would you, like, I don't know, throw a Puerto Rican Wonder Woman out there? Because like
you can't say Puerto Rican Wonder Woman.
Well, her character's not Puerto Rican, but I'm just saying, like, an actress.
I could find you, absolutely. I could find you.
Would you?
I could find you 1,000 Puerto Rican women that look like Gal Gadot. Not look like her, like, exactly, but I'm saying like that, like same color hair, same color skin tone, eyes. I could find you a bunch that look like that.
She's Israeli, right?
She's Israeli, yeah. There's plenty of Latino women in general that, you know, that have that same kind. I
mean, I thought she was Hispanic. I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw her,
she's ethnically ambiguous. She could pass.
But my point is, though, would you go hard, like, or a black Wonder Woman or whatever? Like, if you can control that aspect, would you just fall in line, or would you try to like open casting? Whoever's the best woman's going to be Wonder Woman.
I think, and it sucks, but I feel like you get to a certain point where the character's iconic.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
You can't go that far. I mean, you can, but it's just not. I don't know, man. This is a tough question to answer. Like, me personally, I wouldn't.
That's what I'm asking for. I wouldn't either.
There's examples like Kingpin in that Daredevil movie. Yeah, I'm popping like crazy on this mic. Kingpin on the Daredevil movie with Ben Affleck was Michael Clark Duncan.
That's true, and he wasn't bad. I like what's his name better on the Netflix one, but like I wasn't like, oh, this is terrible.
No, I thought he did a good job, you know, and I thought he fit the character.
He was a big presence,
yeah,
which is what, in my opinion, that's what Kingpin is.
Exactly,
like, he's a big presence.
So it didn't bother me at all. It bothered some other people, but for me, I was fine with that. I think when it comes to characters like Aquaman being Samoan now, when he's always traditionally been blonde, that doesn't bother me. Like
I feel like it's more realistic. Like, I was gonna say historically accurate, quote unquote.
It kind of is.
But I mean, you buy it better.
Yeah.
It's like
those. But what I'm saying, it doesn't bother me. The other reason why it doesn't bother me is because Aquaman just
isn't big.
Exactly, he's just not as popular.
If Batman were black, you'd riot. Is what you're saying.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I don't think you'd be happy. Depends on who the guy was, though, right?
I mean, I'm all for, like, if Idris Elba became James Bond.
I was gonna say you can't choose Idris.
I wouldn't be pissed off.
What if it was
Michael B. Jordan?
Yeah. What if he was Batman? Young Batman.
Yeah, that'd piss me off, but that's because he's a shitty actor.
Young Batman.
I think he's a bad actor. That would
YUNG. Young Batman. Could you imagine if they did that as like not obviously it wouldn't be official, but like I'm sure there's someone out there who's done like if Batman were from Compton, like young. I'm that young Bruce Wayne.
Like they rewrote the origin
story, but set in like
that'd be interesting.
Modern day Compton.
Well, let's move on. Do we want to talk?
Parents got killed at
Do we want to talk about that Twitter thing?
Church's Chicken Place. That's where they got killed. I was gonna say Mom's Burger, but you've never been there. Sure. Yeah. Let me bring it up. We'll set it up, and then I'll, as this is loading, I'll.
Oh, so Daniel retweeted. I think from our account actually, he retweeted this angry young woman responding to a Vulture.
Yeah.
We'll put the link in the description if you want to read the article, but
or not, because we might get flagged like we did last time when I put frickin' links in.
Oh, did you?
I put links in the description, and then they considered that was when we got our first strike. That's how that was the reason.
Okay, well maybe we'll do it on SoundCloud,
on our website, dngtalk.com.
Yeah. That's not a smart way of doing it.
Yeah.
But a guy did a review, and he got taken to task because it was considered uber sexist and mansplaining and blah blah blah. And I was okay with that. But then I started reading the
comments,
the thread, the comment, and there's a bunch of angry women saying basically that if you're a man, you can't review this film, you can't critique the film because you're a man, so you don't understand. Which I think is fucking ridiculous. And that's kind of, and remember when I said at the beginning where we started off, we were talking about the women thing and women supporting the movie.
Right. I
feel like it's the political climate that we're in now where that is definitely a big reason why people came out in droves to watch it. Women who normally wouldn't watch superhero movies came out because we're in this world right now where now it's all, everybody's against everybody now. You know, everybody's banding together and they're taking part. They're with their own tribe right now, and it's turning. And
like
it's
Joe
sad.
Rogan says, it's tribal mentality, where it's just you just gravitate to like your team, and then it's like if you don't 100% in line with your own team or like with what you believe, you're the enemy.
Yeah.
And I you know, I try my best to like not acknowledge that because you know you give the benefit of the doubt for people like no. But then you kind of see crap like this, and it's like, you know,
there's a bit of mob mentality going into this thing, and the me versus them or us versus them.
That was me earlier. You triggered the hell out of me.
I did
because I'm not on their level. Like I won't go and attack a review. Like a reviewer can write whatever he wants because at the end of the day, I'm gonna make my own decision if I want to go watch a movie. Because you know what? The truth of the matter is Roger Ebert's dead, and the day he died, film criticism died. And in terms of film reviews, not film criticism, but film reviews, they died. I haven't read maybe one or two since then.
You don't like Leonard Maltin?
I've never really cared for him. I'm not saying he's bad or anything like that, but he's not Roger Ebert.
Right.
And to me, that was like...
He didn't have a TV show on prime time that everybody grew up watching.
But even then, I grew up with Leonard... I knew of Leonard Maltin's existence before Roger Ebert's.
Right.
Because I would watch Star Wars all the time, and the Star Wars we owned, he would always do an introduction interview with like George Lucas.
Okay.
And so like... I would always fast forward it, but it would be like, hi, I'm Leonard Maltin, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I knew who he was based on that alone. But Roger had a different approach to, like, just writing. I mean, that's why he was so big.
I feel like he just genuinely enjoyed watching
movies. And just
he watched every movie exactly the same. So he could watch, like, a regular, like, $40 million comedy and be as open to it as he would an indie film that had a lot of, like, a sunset movie.
Daniel Day-Lewis, what he was going to be super excited for because Scorsese. Scorsese was his favorite director. But anyway, why did I bring this up?
We were talking about the mob mentality.
So in the car, I was listening to Rogan and whatever, and I had this thought. It had nothing to do with what they were talking about. But this is just a question, and then it's loaded, so I'll read the comments after this. But why do you think people feel entitled to things? And what I mean by that is, as I know, like, for example, you support like Bill Gates' mentality of what I earned is what I earned, and then what I leave my kids is nothing because they didn't earn it. Like, they got to pull themselves up, right?
Right.
So, because there's no entitlement. They didn't do anything, right? But yet, like me, you, other colored people, we feel like we're entitled to like white guilt or like anything like that. Things like that where it's like, for all the hundreds of years of atrocities that you've done and inflicted upon my people or whatever, because it's obviously, I'm bringing this in because of the women thing.
Right.
Why do we now feel entitled to that? I'm not saying that it's wrong or I don't agree with it or whatever. I'm just presenting the question.
I feel like the reason why people are bringing it up and making an issue out of it is because there's systems in place that still haven't changed that are still they're still holding people of color down.
Right.
And this is just a way of bringing it to...
But it's not every white person though, right?
It's not every white person, but they're...
This is why I'm tying it back in, the mom mentality, where it's like every white person, every guy.
I don't subscribe to that, but I know what you're saying. And I think the reason behind it, the purpose behind it is to say, hey, these things happen and these systems are still in place because of those.
Let's not forget it.
Let's change the system that was put in place. You didn't own slaves. Your grandfather didn't own slaves. Your great grandfather didn't own slaves, but his great grandfather possibly owned slaves or worked on or was an overseer. And the system that was created back then is still in place and it's still affecting people of color now. So it's your job, since you are in power, to help get rid of that system. That's what
Is it though?
Absolutely. I mean, they don't have to because it benefits them.
Because what I was combating myself, and I shouldn't say combating because that would imply that I was actually having a conflict of interest. Mm-hmm. But what I was like arguing with myself back and forth, like from both sides, is, let's say I were white and I grew up that way and everything like that, and I'm the same person. Treat everyone the same.
Right.
I'm equally as racist to every single race on planet Earth. And that to me is like equality, because like for someone to say they're not racist, they're not sexist, they're not whatever, they're full of shit.
Right.
I can like almost not take them seriously, because there's a difference between someone cuts in front of you and you blurt something out because whatever, you're just in a bad mood, and then like going out and starting a rally, attending we're going to lynch people and blah, blah, blah. There's a difference between that. And it happens both ways, in terms of like, doesn't have to be a specific race. It could be gender. It could be whatever, right? That's just us judging because that's what we do as human beings. We're always like analyzing and judging, right? So my thing is like, okay, if I was that person, kind of just remain neutral, didn't like get politically involved, whatever, but I'm somewhere and someone's blaming me, shouting in my face, whatever, I'm not going to really, like, I'm not tying this into politics, but you can see how that goes to Trump and whatever. But my thing is, though, is there a point, and is it when the system fixes itself, like where that's not going to be a thing? Like there has to be a point where like when you're born that you just kind of, you have a clean slate a little bit, right?
I mean, it's so fucking...
no one chooses to be born their race.
It's all parents' fault, okay?
100%.
It all comes down to the parents. I'm not experienced person, but I've seen this stuff happen where you have this white kid who was raised right, and they kind of don't see color, and they try to be nice to someone of color, but then all of a sudden it's like that person of color has so like bitter or like they have this chip on their shoulder where they're
probably from their parents, and
they lash out at this kid who's an innocent, they're an innocent kid. They mean well. They want to be your friend, but because of your parents have ingrained this mentality in you, you like you're defensive around them and you treat them in a certain way that eventually turns them into well,
fuck all these people that if they're going to be like this.
They either become embittered or they become SJWs and they try to be your friend even more, which is even worse, I think.
Yeah. If someone doesn't want to be your friend, you just don't be their friend.
Right, period. Exactly. And it goes from
same thing with guys who want to sleep with women and they're like, I'm a feminist, like I'm with you, I'm an ally.
Yeah.
And it's like
don't trust those men.
You're not going to get laid. I'm sorry. No, they're going to think you're like, oh, my brother.
Those guys also created the friend zone.
well, you got to desperate times call for desperate measures, right?
No.
But anyway, I don't remember where we were going this, but I brought up the comments because I think you were saying you were just basically explaining how he got attacked for writing a review.
Yeah.
That's it. That's basically what it was. And you didn't have a problem with the review. You didn't have a problem with the contents of the review because you didn't care to read it, right?
Right.
It was you only brought this to my attention when you started reading the replies, and that's where we left off. So like this is the first one. Let's see. This is from, I'm not going to call people out. Does said male critic also spend the obligatory paragraph describing all the ways in which Gal Gadot pleases his boner? Oh boy, does he. And then I guess there's a quote. I'm just going to read straight up and because we didn't pre-select these. Ban all male critics from Wonder Woman and just other stuff until they learn their lesson. That was on June 4th. That was hearted 1.2 thousand times. And then someone replied to her and said, because he speaks for all of us. And then people are defending, not all men. One male critic being creepy hardly speaks for the majority, considering a 93% men or women single him out. Let's see. And there's a lot of men saying we're going to defend the man, which is just triggering more people. I'm trying to find interesting comments. I feel like we kind of relate to this boat because they've been buried. Like the good comments that we were reading were buried. We should have took screenshots at the time.
Well, I mean, the basic gist of it is
someone said
they piled
$100 million opening weekend is pretty low for a tentpole action flick. That'd be called a flop if it were Avengers. What do you think about that?
We'd have to look up the opening numbers for Avengers.
It was big. It was the biggest opening of all time. The first Avengers.
I mean, I feel like $100 million is pretty good.
I do too.
I'm not gonna.
If you're gonna make most of your budget back the first weekend, that's great to me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with when it comes to these numbers because I don't. When it comes to that stuff, I don't know what. Like I read that Warner Brothers was expecting a $60 to $65 million opening, so it being over $100 million.
That's great.
It smashes their expectations.
That's
so
why
they're happy about it.
That's why she has a big bargaining chip. I'm trying to scroll and find some tweets, but we're bombing right now because none of these tweets are loading.
Well, it's been so long already.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the movies come out, but that's not the only place. So if you look, you'll see a bunch of people just ganging up together and saying, "Yeah."
Well, I was guilty of it at the beginning of this podcast.
So I mean,
because you attacked my girl Patty. Me and Pat go way back.
Daniel's one of those guys that calls himself a feminist in your pants, by the way.
That is not true. I have never called myself a feminist at any point. I believe in equality. Isn't that what feminism's about? Equality?
Yeah.
Exactly. Not
Kind of.
reversing the gender roles so women take over. That's not feminism.
It's not.
Now, we could put some women in power. That's great because we need some.
Right.
But that doesn't mean all of a sudden. I mean, I don't know. Never mind. Now it's going to get political, and we've been refraining from that.
I think we've exhausted Wonder Woman.
Well, for you,
For me, well, yeah, Daniel's going to do his own solo pod about Wonder Woman.
for 4 hours,
And
guys, 4 hours.
If you want to hear some film school,
if you need something to put you to sleep, that's definitely the podcast to listen to because I just have that soothing baby time voice.
Let's hope that Daniel got a stand for his mic.
You mean you don't like me holding it?
So we don't have the fucking Muppets in.
I didn't even sound like that. I don't know
No,
why.
I know because you held the mic. I told you that's why you had the mic in your hand. Because if you didn't, you would have sounded like this and that. Because of how fucking much your head was bobbing.
I'm sorry. Okay, we've been through this.
He's so excited about it.
I was.
I feel like we got a little bit of time left. We got to wrap this up.
Yeah, we're at 1:12.
We have to talk about Bill Maher.
Yeah.
So you said you had a hot Bill Maher take. The explanation is Bill Maher there was a senator from Alabama on, I believe, and he made a comment about coming out and working on the fields. And Bill Maher...
to come visit the state. And he's like, come visit the state.
And work,
you can work in the fields.
And Bill Maher replied, no, that's not going to work for me. I'm a house nigger. I could see why there's a backlash towards it because it was... I feel it was a joke, and I think that joke might have played 10 years ago. But it goes right back to the political climate we're
should have been aware.
in.
Bill Maher should have known better.
He should have known better. You took a risk. You should have known that wasn't going to play the way it did. And the funny thing is, I feel like there's people. I don't know how. Honestly, I've heard some. I haven't jumped in to see what people are saying. I've only had a couple of things. I've heard one person really pissed off. I've heard one black guy on a podcast really pissed off saying he should be fired. And then there was
a lot of people who said they were should be fired.
And then there was Orlando Jones put out a video today saying you guys are pissed off about that, but there's been tons of more terrible shit.
Which is totally true.
Yeah, so you guys are calling everybody a hypocrite.
This is what annoys me about, and I haven't even given my opinion about it, but what annoys me about that reaction of fire this guy is you're taking it on face value. When he said the word he said, right? It was a joke. We've agreed that was a joke. Everyone knows it was a joke. And if you don't know it was a joke, I'm sorry. You're just not on the level. You're just not. It was a joke. Just context is everything.
Right.
There's a difference between that and then when that cooking lady was what did she do? She was calling everyone niggers or something. She was
no, but
she was doing something like that.
She threw a party and it was like a plantation party and had everybody dress up like
no, there's a cooking lady and she's
Paula Deen.
She said something.
That was part of the reason why she hired all these people to work her party and had them dress up as a plantation, to make it look like plantation time. That was part of it. There was other issues to it, but that was part of it. It was a party.
I forgot about that.
And she hired people to be hey, basically, we want this to be like an 1840s.
Oh yeah, it says right here. Yeah, you're right. Black men to play the role of slaves at a wedding. She got the idea from a restaurant her husband and her had dined at, saying the whole entire staff was middle-aged black men and they had on beautiful white jackets with a black bow tie. I mean,
a lot of yes, massa.
It was really impressive.
Massa.
That restaurant represented a certain era in America after the Civil War, during the Civil War, before the Civil War. It was not only black men; it was black women. I would say they were slaves. I mean, and then it goes on have you ever used the N-word? Yeah, of course. Blah blah blah. It's a Huffington Post article, so of course they really slam her in the ass.
She lost her career because of it.
Right.
But she shouldn't have thrown that party. She should have known better.
But that wasn't a joke. I feel like that's different.
No, it wasn't a joke.
If you look at Bill Maher's track record, he's championed for anyone who's down. He's used his publicity, his TV show to champion. Otherwise, he wouldn't have people coming on his show within the community saying, dude, I watch your show every night, blah, 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 or every week and this and that. People just say, oh, he said this, gone. What? Okay, you take him out, now you're losing a voice. People on the right would love Bill Maher to be off the air. Just like I'm excited the fact that Bill O'Reilly couldn't keep it in his pants and all these people on Fox are getting canned because they were just freaking freaks.
Yeah.
I'm happy because now they don't. Now they're not going to. At least on Fox, they'll probably have a podcast. They'll probably do something. They're going to be fine.
Right.
But I'm just saying, at least they're off the Fox era where they can stop contaminating people
Right.
with their like editorialized talking points, right?
Right.
My thing though is my question to you, and I'm going to answer this first. Do you think that him being a comedian or any comedian automatically absolves them of like for example, what's his name? Kramer. That's not his name, but Kramer. Michael, is it Richards?
Michael Richards.
Yeah. When he went off on the heckler, right? And he freaking just blew off, and that was a long video, and that kind of killed everything that he had going for him. Okay. He really didn't get forgiven for it, right? Because he was a comedian or whatever.
Well, it wasn't a joke.
Bill Maher, oh no, because he was attacking them. He was attacking the guy. But do you think that because Bill Maher's a comedian, obviously he's going to be fine. HBO's behind his guy.
Yeah.
But like, do you think that when you're a comedian, you have carte blanche to be more risque because you're a comedian, because you're making it a joke? I personally believe you do. Because your whole point
I've heard a lot of comics say this. When in defense of other comics saying stuff, and
because if he were black, I don't think people would have said anything.
well, no, because he's black.
I know, but you're still saying the words, you know?
Well, see, the sensitive, it's not so much the word. It's for me. I mean, maybe that the issue.
I think
is
it
the
is
word.
the word.
I don't think it's the word. I think it's because he was making fun of slavery. You know.
See, I don't know. But I mean, is it making fun of slavery?
I mean, it kind of. I mean, it was just in poor taste. I don't know. I think it would have played better, and people would have laughed more if it had been a black guy, because it was more relatable.
Like Chappelle.
Not some
Chappelle could have Chappelle could have pulled that off.
A white Jewish guy.
I could totally see Chappelle making that into a skit too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Come work in the field. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I
don't think he should get fired. I don't think it should turn into this big thing. But at the same time, I don't necessarily buy that all comics should be able to say whatever the hell they want to.
It needs to be funny. That's the first requirement. It definitely needs to
be funny. But I mean, there's like old school jokes. You listen, like they're blatantly racist jokes.
Bill Maher is what, 50-something years old?
And that's fine. I mean, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying like there was jokes that comics were making before that had to do with stereotypes.
Oh, 100%.
That they're not doing anymore.
He's 61. He's not even, but I understand what you're saying, because I was shooting a comedy show last year, and one of the comedians, he just did like old, recycled, like stereotypical Asians can't drive jokes, or like white people can't dance jokes. And like, I was just like, like maybe this was killing it.
Yeah.
25 years ago.
Not anymore.
But not now. Not in the age of Louis. Not in the age of like
people, like one, comedy's been elevated to a certain level, and two, like people, this is one of the good things about our society now, is like we're kind of like, we're past that. Like we don't.
It's not funny anymore.
No, it's not.
I mean, it can be funny if you throw it in there like and like what was bad is that guy thought he was just being funny.
Right.
Like there's a difference between like me making a dumb Asian joke.
Right.
With Asian people, knowing that like that's the joke is like, oh, you can't drive. Like, it makes, one of those jokes, as opposed to like, you're literally crafting.
I mean, there's a way to use it.
Exactly.
Where you're not necessarily making fun of the people. And I think that's okay, and it's fun. Like when two comics are like bashing on each other and they're using that.
It's good taste.
Yeah. They're like, let me ask you something, Tyrone. Why is it that every time I go somewhere, so-and-so black person has to do this, like every single time? And then Tyrone's like, all right, well, Jefferson, or I don't even know her white name. Tracy.
Maximilian.
I mean, what's
Tracy's a pretty white name.
Yeah.
Tracy's a good
I'm going to say Morgan. I don't know, Morgan. Why is it every time I go here, white people are doing so, and then they go
That's
back
fun, and then you can just keep
funny.
Roasting each other. Yeah. They're like your mama jokes,
That's okay, but when you're like,
you don't really think someone's mom's fat.
When you do a whole set about how Asian people drive shitty.
That's literally how it was.
Mexicans always pack 17 people into a 3-seater.
Low key, I feel like putting it on the page, but I can't. It hasn't been released yet. Yeah. Just to show like. I was just shaking my head.
I went to the one set of the remember we did the videos for those girls?
Yeah.
For the reels. We did the first night I did one, it was an older lady and she was doing those jokes. And she was doing it like, oh, my husband's from Guatemala, and it was a white lady, and he does this, this, and that. Why are Latin?
Oh, I remember that.
Latin men
are so aggressive.
They're so aggressive. They have such. There's something like I forget the.
I think she made a rape joke.
They're yeah. I don't remember that, but
that was.
It was basically like
no, that was what's her
like,
name. That was what's her name. Made
Amy
a rape.
Schumer.
Amy Schumer.
Yeah. But it has to do with the hypersexualization
It's
of
the
Latino
same,
men. Yeah, and this lady was making jokes like that, and they weren't
funny. That's the key.
Yeah.
If this dude were killing it, like he was making funny jokes talking about how Asians can't drive or whatever, I'm on board.
Right.
I'm 100% on board because like that's the type of I hate Medea movies, but like that style, Big Mama's House, like that type of humor is funny to me. It just makes me laugh. Like,
well, it's one
World
of those
Star
things,
hip hop
like,
videos make me laugh.
We're like,
And they're stupid. The more stereotypical they are, but the funnier they are.
But it's the thing that's like, we can make fun of ourselves about certain things. You can't as an outsider because you're an outsider. Because when we're doing it, it's coming from a different place. Like, I'm making fun of you for being Mexican out of love. I don't hate Mexican people. I talk shit about Mexicans, but I don't hate Mexican people. It's just like out of Latinos talk shit about each other. Every Latino has their country, and we have our little nuances that make us different from other countries, because for everybody else we're exactly the same, and we talk shit to each other about it. And it's a thing. It's a love thing within the same community. When somebody from the outside says it, it's not out of love. It's you like making fun of us you're denigrating us.
And that's why I'm defending Bill Maher, because he wasn't doing that.
I don't think he was.
He's on a live broadcast.
He put it on himself too. He's on a live himself.
Exactly. He's on a live broadcast too. He's a comedian first and foremost.
Yeah.
He's not a political commentator first. He's a comedian. That's what he does. He's a stand-up. He just happens to be on politics, right? He's on the spot. He's live. He didn't expect. It's not like they had this pre-recorded conversation and the dude says, "Whatever. Come work in the fields." He has to say something funny because the audience is expecting. That's why they come to watch Bill Maher.
Yeah, he did.
And he just missed. He missed this time.
It was a bad joke.
He missed. But if he would have killed it and said something funnier, he could have been just as racist and not used. I think it was the word.
I mean,
I think it's just the word.
The word is definitely a part of it. I think he was a little too comfortable with it. I think that might be the problem too. He was a little too comfortable with it.
Is there another term for that?
There's probably another.
The house slave?
I wouldn't even said that. I'd have been like, well, you know what, sir? I'm more of a house guy. I would have been. I was like, you know what? I'm someone that prefers to work inside the house. Like it would have been like sliding in there.
Same joke, but
yeah.
less. But yeah, because at least he didn't say. He looked at himself and like, I'm white, right? Like,
right.
I own them. Like that doesn't.
Well, I own them would have been too far.
No, it wouldn't have been that to me.
I think
I'm saying if he would have said that would have justified everyone's complaints. That would have been like, this guy might be racist.
I actually probably would have laughed more if he just said, I'm white, right? Like,
and just left it at that.
Yeah, that might have played a little, because then you're not just talking about black people, you're also talking about Mexicans who currently work the fields.
Yeah, anyone who's not white.
Yeah.
Other than farmers.
Well, the majority of people working the fields right now.
Oh yeah, are brown.
Yeah, and they're from Latin America.
Yeah.
Mostly from Mexico.
Brown.
Yeah.
Brown folk. Still colored, though. Still colored. Colored folk can't get away from the fields.
No.
They just can't. One day, though. One day.
So, man, we have a bunch of other stuff. I think that'll do it, though. I think I don't think we have to really bring up these other things. I kind of wanted to talk about the Harvard thing, but we could talk about that.
We can push that. That's a not time. Unless I still don't know what you want to talk about Manchester by the Sea, but if you want to end on that. If not, then we don't have to.
No, I saw Manchester by the Sea.
Well, did you like that movie? I don't want to get into full. Did you like it?
I didn't hate it, but I didn't think it was that great. And
it's definitely artsy. It's slow. It's serious. It's sad.
It was definitely sad, but the story itself was. It just. You know how I feel about these protagonists.
I know you don't like movies like Manchester by the Sea.
Well, here's the thing. Like I just feel like all the bad things. Like the kid got failed by everybody. Everybody let him down, and he had a chance to redeem himself, but he couldn't get past. And I understand what happens to Casey Affleck is so traumatic that's why. But it's like this was your chance to redeem yourself, and you didn't.
I think that's why I liked it.
I didn't like that at all. I thought it was bad.
Because that's life. You don't always get the redemption.
The problem is I was never rooting for him because he was such a piece of shit. Not to mention, I thought he was retarded until we got to that we got to the flashback where we find out why he's acting the way he is.
Well, see, I didn't
And
think
they did not explain that. I'm like,
but they did it. That's a reason. That's 100. You can't. That's,
well, now
that's
that I know,
yeah, exactly,
but it took too long. It was
Yeah.
already like an hour in, and the whole time my mom watched it with me. She's like, "What's wrong with this guy? Is he mentally challenged? Like what?" Because of the way he was acting.
Yeah, because he was so despondent and distant.
And the way they set it up, like he's working at people's houses, and the ladies are like,
and he just isn't.
they're hitting on him, like throwing it at him. And he's like,
100% agree.
So I just didn't think. I don't think he definitely didn't deserve. Did he win an Academy Award?
Well, we might get into another Patty Jenkins article.
We could do that. We could do that next time. But he didn't deserve that at all. It was his performance was not that great whatsoever, and the movie itself was.
His performance was fantastic.
It wasn't. We can bring this back to USC and your choice in casting. So don't. When it comes to picking out who.
My thing is this.
When it comes out to judging performances, I think I've already established in this world that I'm better at it than you are.
The Academy would beg to differ, but it's one sentence. All right, so you watched it thinking he was dumb the whole time. He was a broken head for the first hour. 100%, I'm not with you because I didn't think that, but I can see why you felt that way. That already tainted your experience, right? Because you're already thinking something's wrong. And then when you find out, you're like, oh, that's why? Okay, well, he still shouldn't have been acting so stupid. Like, I'm not saying you thought that, but you might have been thinking this, right? Like, but for me, I saw him as broken the whole time. And I'm like, man, what is wrong with him? But not in the like, is he dumb? Is he challenged? Is he not like up to par? Is he not normal? I just figured like why is he so depressed? And I don't know, maybe because like I said, when I did a podcast on it. When I did it, it was like what I liked because it was very personal to me personally. Because like a lot of those things I felt like happened to me, or maybe not specifically, but like I felt like I went through a lot of those emotions. Especially, I mean, my dad's passing was fresh for me.
Right.
I mean, that movie came out last year, so it was like a year. And so to me, it was more, and 100% personal.
You didn't kill your dad, though.
Well, he didn't. I'm just saying, though, like the whole concept of like the movie starting off with him going to see his brother, and then like I'm obvious in that, but I'm just saying there's a whole, once the story came together to me, and then once I saw, and this is my defense of him, once I saw his range within the film, it wasn't a huge range, but within the confines of the story, it was pretty big. Because when you see those flashbacks, when he's a different person. And then you see him, and he's just so distraught. And I feel like it's the Ryan Gosling approach.
I mean,
of
he
Drive.
was still dumb.
Less is more.
He was a working class.
But that was his character,
guy.
though. That's his character, though.
And I feel like the mumbling and stuff was a little too much for me. And that's not just that. Like the narrative of the story.
It was a depressing movie.
His arc was just like, I don't know.
They won best screenplay too. I
see. That's why I don't. When somebody tells me something wins an Oscar, I wipe my ass with it. I mean,
I know,
The Godfather didn't win Best Picture. The Love Story did. Just remember that.
Well, Forrest Gump.
Nobody's saying his Love Story is one of the best movies ever made. People are saying.
I think Godfather did win Best Picture and Best Director.
I don't think so. I think Love Story won it. Love Story won the Oscar one of those years instead of.
I'm pretty sure, but I don't know. Did Godfather win Best Picture? I'm pretty sure it did. 1-6 Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Screenplay. Oh, that's part two. Sorry. Yeah, it won Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Writing, Best Actor. It was nominated for the rest, but it won 3. So I don't know. You might be confusing it with another movie because that's obviously like Pulp Fiction didn't win Best Picture when Forrest Gump did.
Love Story in 1971. So whatever movies, there's a movie that came out in 1971, or the Oscars for 1971. Love Story won.
So it'd be 1972 Oscars, which would be the ones that
I won Best Music. There was some out there that there's been movies. If you go through the Oscar list and you see the movies that have won Oscars, and then you see the other movies that came out that year, you're like, how the fuck did this movie win for that, and this other movie didn't?
I understand.
All I'm saying is The English Patient won Best Picture one year. Have you ever seen The English Patient?
Social Network didn't win. King's Speech won over Social Network.
Okay. Well, I'm saying like this happens all the time. So like winning Oscars means dick to me, especially nowadays. Like now. Like,
So in 1971,
if you go through these older ones, there's a lot of movies that didn't.
Patton won Best Picture and Love Story lost.
Okay. I'm fucking confused. But there's definitely, if you look through all
I
the
agree.
years.
100% agree with you. I just use one. Social Network is my most recent one. I was
Anyways,
mad.
so I just didn't like the arc of the
Well,
guy.
what did you want to talk about, Manchester? I know but
Well, it had to do with something else. Like I don't even remember what I want to talk about when it comes to it. I'm just saying I saw it. It wasn't that. I didn't like it that much. I wasn't impressed. It was okay. It wasn't that great. I didn't hate it, but it was okay. And a lot of it just had to do with the character's arc. And it's the same thing. I felt the same way about it as I did that one with squishy face Richard Reed, Reed Richards, Fantastic Four guy. What's his face that I hate?
Oh,
Drummer.
yeah.
Whatever that movie's called.
Fuck. Wow. Whiplash.
Yeah, whatever his name is. Preston. I don't even know what his name is.
Miles
Teller.
Miles Teller.
Like that movie he did where he was in high school.
That's a white name.
He was a drunk in high school. The one that I watched.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see it.
It's the same thing. Like this guy, it just.
Did you see the boxing movie he was in?
No.
I haven't seen it.
I don't want to. I don't want to
I
support
know
this
you don't
guy.
like Miles Teller. I do.
But it was the same thing. I had this feeling about this guy, this dude, just keeps on making shitty decisions, terrible decisions, and terrible things happen, and he never does anything to redeem himself.
Didn't you
throughout?
Didn't he have is the movie with the baby or something where he has a kid or something like that?
He doesn't have a baby in this.
It's an indie movie though, right?
It's definitely an indie movie.
Yeah,
It's like The Spectacular Now, I think.
There you go. I think I haven't seen
and
it.
It was the same thing. Like this guy just keeps on making poor decisions and either doesn't get punished for them or just doesn't fix it.
You know what?
And it goes throughout the whole movie.
Gian,
and
you
I
just had a
hate
good
that.
life, okay? You're not like socially awkward and depressed.
I feel like I've always said I feel like movies are for people to escape, not to like my life
To
is
replicate
miserable.
life.
Let me go and watch some more misery to remind me of how miserable my life is.
Maybe that's why I
know.
connect with some of these movies.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That's just too far. But anyways, that'll do it for us. dngtalk.com. Subscribe. Leave reviews. I don't think we got any new reviews.
Leave comments.
Leave
Leave
comments,
comments.
yeah.
We had a nice YouTube exchange on one of our videos, so we like that.
It was a reaction video, but
Yeah.
it was still an exchange.
So what's up, Jay Alonzo?
Yeah. Shout out.
Shout out to Jay Alonzo,
Jay Alonzo, the hip hop master.
the hip hop master, rap god, trap queen.
Still waiting on that mixtape.
All right, well that's it. So we're done.